We're the anchors of Queer News Tonight, and this evening we discuss the queer headlines. A Kinsey Institute study reveals inadequate sex education leaves adults lacking knowledge on consent, relationships, and communication, impacting confidence and well-being.
Hotspots magazine spotlights 2025's best-selling Halloween decor, animatronics, skeletons, and inflatables dominating homes and social media alike.
A $1.4 million progressive campaign seeks to win back Latino voters by spotlighting economic hardship and Trump's harsh immigration agenda.
Florida's Palm Beach County and Boca Raton must pay $885,000 after courts struck down their conversion therapy ban as unconstitutional.
New report links worldwide surge in anti-LGBTQ+ hate crimes to discriminatory laws, political hostility, and escalating extremist threats.
All this important LGBTQ+ news and more this evening on Queer News Tonight. Welcome to Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only LGBTQ daily news television show, broadcasting live and available on demand on your favorite streaming channels.
Analytics company vidIQ has certified the Queer News Tonight YouTube channel as the world's most popular LGBTQ streaming news show. Our queer stories have reached more than 11 million views.
We are proud that Queer News Tonight has more YouTube subscribers than any other LGBTQ brand in Florida.
We thank you for watching and supporting our voice in our rainbow community. There are no other news programs in the LGBTQ world like Queer News Tonight.
It is Thursday, October 23rd. We are live and literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we will tell this evening on Queer News Tonight.
You're watching Queer News Tonight, the world's first daily LGBTQ evening news show.
Welcome to the world's most important LGBTQ evening news show.
Hotspots magazine Happening Out Television Network is a nonprofit 501c3 media company in the same model as PBS and NPR, but created for the LGBTQ community.
Our nonprofit mission is to support the 11 pillars of our community. We want to inform and educate the key issues of lesbian, trans, Latino, Black, healthcare, seniors, students, faith, social justice, business, and queer culture. Help us support our diverse community.
We are part of one of the largest LGBTQ nonprofit media companies in America, Hotspots Magazine and Happening Out Television Network. In 2025, our magazine is celebrating 40 years of the LGBTQ experience, and Queer News Tonight is celebrating our 5th anniversary with more than 11,000 LGBTQ television stories. We present South Florida's major LGBTQ events, including Pride Fort Lauderdale, Stonewall Pride, and Pride Fete. Our magazine, events, television news, talk, and entertainment shows support our mission to educate the LGBTQ and broader community.
In 2025, more than 100 community leaders will sit at this table and share their voice as our anchors. Together, we host this show to support the LGBTQ+ community. Let's meet this evening's anchors at Queer News Tonight. Let's welcome anchor Gregg Shapiro, an inductee into the Chicago LGBT Hall of Fame. Gregg is the entertainment journalist whose celebrity interviews and reviews run in a variety of regional LGBTQ publications and websites. Welcome, Gregg.
Well, it sure is great to be here with you kids, and if I may ask y'all, pick up this week's issue of Out South Florida, which has my cover story interview with David Archuleta. What a sweet kid, and you can also catch it online at outsfl.com.
That's a huge coup for you to get that interview. Is there anything that you want us, potential readers, to know, really to see what was like the best part of that interview?
I'd say read the whole thing and then come and critique me privately. Because I ought to. Okay.
Let's welcome anchor Alex Morash. Alex has served as editor-in-chief of Options Magazine, media director of the National LGBTQ Task Force, and press secretary for the Florida Democratic Party. Welcome, Alex.
Thank you very much for having me on tonight, Vaughn. I can't wait to talk about the stories tonight.
Let's welcome anchor Lali Farver. Larry has over 20 years of experience in human resources, acting, film, radio, TV, live events, parade, float design, production, and casting. He is also the board member of the West Side Association. Welcome, Larry.
It's great to be here, Vaughn and everyone. Thank you.
Let's welcome anchor Lali Safavi, President, CEO, and founder of Skirt South Flow magazine and the Skirt Foundation. The organization champions the creative and economic advancement of South Florida's LGBTQ+ women's community through leadership, advocacy, and empowerment initiatives. Lali, Vibrant Living Women's Resource Fair is taking place at Sunshine Cathedral on November 8th. Tell me, what's happening out?
Thank you, Vaughn. Thank you, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here with you. On Saturday, November 8th, the Skirt Foundation will host Vibrant Living. This is a women's resource fair and free farmers market from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Sunshine Cathedral in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. This community-centered event will bring together women and families from across Broward County for a day of wellness, resources, and empowerment. Guests will enjoy free produce, dry goods, over-the-counter pharmacy items, clothing, and health screenings, along with complimentary lunch and snacks. The fair will feature vendors and information booths from community partners, including BBHC, Alzheimer's Association, Spark, Women in Distress, Silver Pride, and others. The event aims to support food insecure and underserved women, creating a welcoming space for connection and care. Vendors, sponsors, and volunteers are encouraged to participate and help spread good vibes and community spirit. For more details, visit theskirtfoundation.org. We are very, very, very excited about this event. This is the first year of the Skirt Foundation, and we're thrilled to be helping the food insecure community in Broward County. It's absolutely needed right now with the cost of everything going up.
You know, it was interesting. There's some studies that came out recently, and I know today there was a food as medicine all-day workshop at HolyCross Health, and it's like where they were talking about the need for food and how it's so increased and needed, and we're hearing that more and more in our communities because the cost of food is going up exponentially. Yeah. And I know that you have done a great job, you know, especially Women in Wilton Manors and the events that you guys have done there, and then to come here to Sunshine Cathedral and offer that is just a great thing.
No, the food insecurity thing is going to get so big. Starting November 1st, a lot of states aren't going to be able to do SNAP benefits with the shutdown. So it's amazing that you guys are working on these issues.
Yeah, this is exactly the community we're targeting. So
A very necessary event, especially at this time.
Absolutely.
thank you.
Well, Queer News Tonight looks forward to seeing you at the Vibrant Living Women's Resource Fair on November 8th.
And of course, let's welcome tonight's lead anchor, the one, the only, Vaughn Biggs. He is a community engagement and outreach coordinator at HolyCross Health, a vice chair of the Ryan White Part A Planning Council, and a board member of Trans Ed and Harmony Waves. Vaughn, HolyCross Health hosts Alzheimer's awareness event on November 14th. Tell us what's happening out.
Thank you, Greg. I'm super excited for this. On Friday, November 14th, the Silver Pride Connection will host a free educational event from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. at the HolyCross Family Health Center's Mangrove Education Room, located in Oakland Park, Florida. The November session, titled Unlocking the Future, Early Detection of Alzheimer's and Dementia, will feature Dr. Joanne Bamdis, a nationally recognized expert in dementia care and intellectual disabilities. Lunch will be provided for all attendees with this event. Silver Pride continues its mission of promoting connection, empowerment, and holistic care. It is an education and wellness group serving the LGBTQ plus adults with a chronic illness, age 50 and older in Broward County. Participants can register by emailing me directly at vaughn.biggs@holy-cross.com or calling me at 954-542-1671. Attendance is limited to 25 participants, ensuring an intimate and supportive environment for meaningful discussion and community building. You know, I'm excited about this because we started this Silver Pride Connection working with this community and trying to keep it really health focused, you know, about talking about how to navigate their healthcare. And this topic came up actually from the members that have been attending, saying they wanted to know more about Alzheimer's and dementia. And there have been a lot of studies that have come out that earlier diagnosis. They're finding they can actually have more inroads in taking care of the issues and maybe delaying the onset of it if they catch it earlier. So it's just a fascinating topic that I've learned recently about. So I'm happy to have this going on.
Yeah, knowing about treatment options and all that are really
Absolutely.
important. And I got to tell you, HolyCross's Silver Pride once again rises to the occasion for the seniors. Keep up the good work.
Absolutely.
Queer News Tonight looks forward to seeing you at the HolyCross Health Alzheimer's Awareness event on November 14th.
I'm Von Biggs, and let's queer up health. Kinsey study finds a lack of sex education hurts adult relationships and confidence. A new study from the Kinsey Institute reveals that gaps in sex education continue to shape adult lives, influencing relationships, confidence, and overall well-being. Researchers surveyed nearly 4,000 single U.S. adults aged 18 to 98 on 16 topics typically covered in comprehensive sex education. They found about 1/3 never learned about healthy relationships, consent, communication, pressure, or dating, not in school and not from family or friends. Only one topic, reproduction or pregnancy, was taught to the majority of the respondents at 55%. Lessons on puberty, STI prevention, and contraception were all taught to fewer than 50%. Of respondents, fewer than 1 in 5 learned about consent, and just about 7% received education on healthy relationships. Topics about pleasure and communication were barely covered, reaching only about 4% of the participants. The study also showed that over 90% said a complete education would have improved their lives today. They cited benefits such as healthier romantic relationships, greater confidence, and better understanding of their own bodies. This isn't just about sex, it's about equity, health, and dignity. Comprehensive sex education is a lifelong need, and programs like Crash Course Sex Ed, developed with the Kinsey Institute, are helping fill the gap for adults. But the question remains, why are our schools and homes still failing to teach the basics of consent, communication, and healthy relationships? You know, I have found this to be so true. I do a lot of programming where I go to the colleges and I talk about, obviously, about HIV and STI, since that's part of what I represent in the community. And I am shocked at some of the questions that come from these young students, and they don't understand consent, and understanding that even like consent as far as if you are drinking and maybe recreational drugs, you can't give consent because you can't drive a car. So if you're, you know, these type of things, but they have no idea what's coming their way. And it's very sad to see.
I'll take homeschooled bastards for 1,000, Ken. The problem is if there's no sex education in schools, then it falls to the parents who have their own agenda when it comes to the subject. So it's really so complicated, and hopefully then, you know, with all these different programs being shut down, even like a community centers, where are they going to go for that information? And if they're going to the internet, good luck with that.
Well, with the college students, I'm like, please don't tell me they're all asking ChatGPT sex advice. But like, I think we should be talking about like the lack of sex education. People are like, well, who's to blame? It actually is the parents. Who are the ones that like, you know, when I was a kid, I was on the Mass Commission on Gay and Lesbian Youth. There was always parents in allegedly the liberal state trying to push back on the most basic gay sex ed stuff.
Even in New England?
Oh, there was a huge controversy in like 2004 about like, oh, well, someone allegedly taught about like how to safely do fisting, and it was the biggest controversy. I'm like, so you want people to just recklessly figure out how to do it wrong? That's a great idea, parents. Like the parents are, you are causing a problem for your child by pushing this like Puritanism BS. And you know, someone's gotta get these schools to act properly.
Yeah, I was fortunate, you know, being a product somewhere in the 80s between high school and university, having some gay positive role models, and then eventually going back and speaking to the university in New Jersey as part of a speakers bureau. And it's really sad to see the backpedaling and things disintegrating here in Florida, especially. So.
You know, I can tell you from a women's perspective, over the course of the last year, I've gone to a lot of talks, discussion groups, just programming revolving around intimacy. And a lot of the women attending are older. So anywhere from mid-40s to mid-70s, I would say. You'd be amazed. You'd be amazed at how many really have no knowledge, basic knowledge of their bodies, their anatomy, their, let alone how to be intimate with another person.
Right.
It's absolutely necessary.
Right.
And even that idea of consent it was a generational thing.
Oh, absolutely.
So older people don't even have that in their minds. They don't even think about that.
And you think even today then in schools talking about, then you add the mix of LGBTQ plus youth and parents who don't know how to navigate the sex talk, right? When they don't know how to, and that's like, okay, that's when you get the experts in, right? When you can't, but we also have a situation where we have children raising children.
Yeah.
Very early. So it's sad to see, but we've got to step it up.
Yeah. I'm Gregg Shapiro, and let's queer up gay culture. Hotspots magazine reveals 2025's top-selling Halloween decor trends. Our Hotspots, happening out LGBTQ lifestyle magazine, Hotspots, is back with a feature that dives into the spooky side of shopping, the top-selling Halloween decor for 2025. According to Fun.com, fans are snapping up animatronics, skeletons, and inflatables faster than ever. The Lock, Shock, and Barrel animatronic is this season's must-have, completing the beloved Nightmare Before Christmas collection with Sally, Jack, Oogie Boogie, and Dr. Finkelstein. Disney fans are calling it the missing piece they've been waiting for. Skeletons remain social media stars, with the Electronic Eyes posable skeleton a TikTok shop favorite, and the 74-inch posable Frankenstein skeleton leading the pack. But the biggest statement piece? The 15-foot giant pumpkin inflatable, one of 17 new inflatables introduced this year. It's already stealing the spotlight in yards nationwide. Also making waves is the 11.5-foot Mothman animatronic, which generated massive buzz during its July launch, and the fan favorite Peekaboo Penny animatronic, returning to thrill nostalgic scare seekers. Hagazine says that the early costume trends include Stitch, Minecraft, How to Train Your Dragon, and even The Handmaid's Tale. This feature story and many more are included in your free copy of the upcoming issue of Hotspots magazine on stands today, October 23rd. I kind of dig the way that Halloween decorations have moved beyond just a hand-carved pumpkin rotting on your front porch. I mean, if Christmas can have animatronics, then so can Halloween, damn it. Right. But all those heights and everything, a lot of size queens are making these. They're 15 feet tall, and it's a lot of size queens.
I recently, it's been funny scrolling through Facebook, the videos or whatever, but I've seen where people have the skeletons or whatever on their porch and like candy, and there's one that was a possum that came up to get into the bowl, and the skeleton moved and the possum fell over. I was dying. It was too funny, but yeah, those are hilarious.
No, they do all these animatronics now. Like you go to a Spirit Halloween to walk. You just walk around because like going to a haunted house for free.
Yes.
But like they have so much stuff now. I feel like I don't even need to. I can play Dead by Daylight in my front yard instead of on a computer.
Oh yeah, yeah. And you see a lot of it at Lowe's and Home Depot. But you talk about the size queen, or you look in Wilton Manors especially. Some of my neighbors, I think they're trying to outdo each other this season. Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Go to the west side of Wilton Manors.
I'm Alex Morash, and let's clear up the USA View. How did LGBTQ lose Latinos to Trump, and what's next? Progressive organizers are launching a new $1.4 million digital and field campaign to re-engage Latino voters, focusing on economic struggles and President Donald Trump's plans for mass deportations. The Valiente Action Fund, backed by the progressive donor network Way to Win, is targeting voters in Arizona, Georgia, Nevada, New Jersey, North Carolina, and Texas. The campaign aims to highlight how Trump's economic promises have fallen short while warning that his immigration tactics have grown more extreme. Tori Gavito, president of Way to Win, said the effort is meant to speak to Latinos in their full experience, especially about housing and rising costs. In New Jersey, ads link Trump's endorsement of Republican Jack Chiaretteri, sometimes called Cheeto in the news, to anti-immigrant policies, while in Nevada, organizers are targeting GOP Governor Joe Lombardo over his record on tenant protections. Nationally, Hispanic voters shifted significantly towards Trump in the last election. 43% of Hispanic voters supported Trump, up from 35% in 2020. The biggest gains came in Texas and Florida, with smaller shifts in New Jersey, New York, and Arizona. The question remains, can this new campaign truly win Latino voters back? Well, I do want to remind people that, I did double check exit polls, and Harris, I think I got 60% roughly of the Latino vote, so I wouldn't call that a loss, just so that people know. And too often, when I see these groups, and LGBTQ media loves to do the insert random ethnic group or marginalized group and how they allegedly are homophobic. And I always have to remind people, just so you all know, the first governor in America to ever support marriage equality was a black man. The first president to ever support marriage equality was a black man. For every marginalized elected official you find that's allegedly homophobic, there's 20 homophobes. So that they don't know, Mike Pence is white. Just so that we're all aware on that. Now, on this specific issue, it's kind of nice that a bunch of donors got together and decided something. That's never a good thing when they think it's the best time. But yay, we're finally talking about affordability. Would have really liked, Kamala, the Democratic Party, to have noticed that in the last 5 years. Maybe, that's all.
Well, yes, it's the people in the background who are not preparing these candidates to go out and talk to the right people. We saw that with Hillary Clinton, right? We saw that.
But with Kamala, her people did encourage her to do a better economic message, and she listened to her brother-in-law, who is the lawyer from Uber instead.
But how difficult can it be to re-engage these people when they're watching their communities being sent out of the country by the orange malignancy? They're watching the ICE stormtroopers parading through their communities. Get engaged. Leave him behind. Leave that lump behind, and come to the better side. Come to where people care.
I think that a lot of Latino voters, when they came to the polls this time around, they were relating to law-abiding, hardworking, just kitchen table issues, types of. That's what they thought. They thought the conditions would get better.
Right. But he lied.
They never expected that. I mean, it was a total bait and switch with him this time.
For sure.
No one expected this.
I'm questioning the 1.4 million, and I'm going 1.4. Is that enough, or is it too much? Because it's digital media, 1.4 million.
It's not that much.
The Florida Gems budget back when I was there on our low budget time was $6 million a year.
Right.
So this is not actually a very big.
And they're covering that many states and not Florida.
Not Florida.
I know. Don't even get me on. Maybe if we could shift a few votes here, it might maybe affect a thing or two.
Yeah. Right.
So, but but on yes, Donald Trump lied. But I always have to remember, I think as someone who's worked for the Gems, they didn't deliver during Biden's presidency.
No, they didn't.
I always try to explain to them, show one thing that you've done to make everyone's life better, and you'll do so much better. And you look at guys like Mondani, he's talking about free buses. Is that going to be life changing? No, it's going to be cheaper to get to work, and people like stuff like that.
Better. Of course, they like better.
Yeah.
I just think both parties are completely disconnected.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Completely.
Well, and what's going on in New Jersey is scary. Not only with the candidate that we're talking about, Chiatarelli.
I have no idea how to say
But having come from the Garden State, New Jersey, there is a large Latino voting base there, and then he's also extremely homophobic as well.
Yeah.
So I wish them well in that election. Mickey Sherrill is certainly much more open-minded, and hopefully she'll be elected. I'm Larry Farver, and let's queer up South Florida and Florida. Florida City County ordered to pay $885,000 after conversion therapy ban is overturned. A Florida city and county will pay nearly $885,000 after their ban on so-called conversion therapy for minors was struck down. Palm Beach County and the city of Boca Raton have been ordered to pay over $880,000 in attorney's fees and $659,000 in costs to counselors Robert Otto and Julie Hamilton. The pair sued, claiming their ban violated their First Amendment rights. The 11th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals ruled in their favor in 2022, effectively nullifying all similar local bans in Florida. Conversion therapy, also called, quote, reparative therapy, has been widely condemned. The World Health Organization says the practice, quote, lacks medical justification and represents a serious threat to the health and well-being of affected people, end quote, linking it to higher rates of depression, anxiety, and suicide attempts. Every major U.S. medical association has denounced the practice. While the Florida ruling stands, courts in other regions, including the 3rd, 9th, and 10th circuits, have upheld similar bans. The U.S. Supreme Court is now weighing Chiles versus Salazar, a Colorado case challenging another ban, with a decision expected next June. Currently, 23 states and Washington, D.C. prohibit conversion therapy for minors. Well, in doing a little digging, I quickly found that with some of the changes on the right, that, federal employees and Medicaid coverage, the Office of Personnel Management in 2026 is making some changes, which will actually effectively exclude gender-affirming care if you're covered under federal insurance policies, and may cover, and they say may cover, faith-based counseling for gender dysphoria. So what a contradiction there. And this policy would affect over 10 million federal workers. So we need to get out there and be active and vigilant and fight the fight. What do y'all think?
I think conversion therapy says as much about the cruelty of parents as it does about the so-called therapists working in that hateful field. It should be banned and denounced. And you know what? Just, if you're a parent, religious or not, this is your child. Don't send them to be tortured by a stranger.
I wonder, what does it say about a country? I know it was just a Florida ruling, but what does it say about a country where we cannot ban verbal abuse of a child, but we can demand a doctor has to say certain words to a woman before she decides what to do with her body? How is that an okay nation to live in? That's just what I want to know today.
Good question.
I'm Alex Morash, and let's queer up the world view. A report shows global surge in anti-LGBTQ plus hate crimes is tied to political rhetoric. A new report from the Institute for Strategic Dialogue shows that hate crimes against LGBTQ plus people are on the rise worldwide, fueled by discriminatory laws and hostile political speech. The report shows that anti-LGBTQ plus hate crimes have increased in the past 5 years across the United States, the United Kingdom, and Europe, especially targeting transgender and gender nonconforming people. It links the trend to political rhetoric and government action that have escalated internationally. Among the cases cited, the Club Q mass shooting in Colorado, which killed 5, the 2023 murder of a California woman who displayed a rainbow flag, and the arrest of 20 Patriot Front members planning to disrupt an Idaho Pride event. The report also noted, quote, these threats come from across the spectrum of ideological extremism, but frequently show groups that also pose a threat to the state and are openly opposed to democratic norms, end quote. In 2024, the FBI reported that out of 11,323 single bias incidents, 17.2% were based on sexual orientation and 4.1% on gender identity. The report warns that a, quote, series of actions have sought to exclude LGBTQ people and culture from public life, end quote, through censorship, book bans, and anti-trans legislation. I was reading the report, and I think, in some countries it is about certain types of violent movements. With the United States and the United Kingdom, how did these elected officials get there? And there's a lot of very prominent, big funded, rich people that fund that. In the United Kingdom, I always talk, when we talk about the UK transphobia, like, there's one billionaire named J.K. Rowling who really got the ball rolling on that because she's a very influential person. Yeah. Everyone knows her. She has money. She's able to make that whole push. And in the United States, we have the National Christian Foundation, which funds the Alliance Defending Freedom, which is an anti-LGBTQ hate group, the Family Research Council, and all their buddies are also funding people like Mike Pence, Donald Trump, and all these crazy. And that rhetoric is in our life because people are funding it, and we need to be very aware of that and what's going on and how it's not just a few crazies. Whoever did the awful shooting of Club Q. That's all. That's a single incident crazy. The donor class, how they act, and these bigger malicious type stuff, like the 20 arrested in Idaho. There was an incident of 100 armed goons at UCLA a couple years ago. It wasn't an anti-gay thing, but magically they all had ties to anti-gay hate. I'm like, oh look, that's what we should really worry. That double side of like you have the right-wing militia extremists forming, and you have these rich people that are funding this crazy. That should really be concerning every queer person in America and the United Kingdom right now. As for the rest of Europe, a whole other story.
Yeah, and don't forget the Heritage Foundation, and let's really not forget self-loathing homosexual Peter Thiel.
Yeah.
Let's not forget Miss Moneybags and her hate.
Well, he's very focused on the Antichrist, apparently, and that I find very disturbing, that someone with that much money and power is focused on that. And I'm like, are you sure you are not the Antichrist?
I was like, someone should buy him a mirror.
But you know, the thing is the anti-LGBTQ plus sentiment has always existed. It's always been right under the surface. It's just these people have, I don't even know, for lack of a better term, I'll say they've been shamed into not acting on it. But right now, the lights are green.
They've been given permission.
Absolutely. Across the board.
The gag order's been removed, so to speak, right?
They feel like they can do anything with zero consequences.
Trickles down from the White House. And if you listen, I force myself, and some people don't understand it in the community, but I listen to some of the local and national stations as much as it's horrible to listen to, just to really have a reality check. Because it's easy to get comfortable in our cocoon of Wilton Manors, or when I was in the shadow of Manhattan, or anywhere else like that, you get comfortable, and we can't be comfortable right now. We have to face the reality.
It's difficult because it is real and it is being pushed, but like, why is it being pushed? Whenever you see them talking, whether it be ICE deportations or anti-LGBTQ hate or racism, it tends to be designed to distract and to keep us from dealing with whatever they want to actually do.
Right.
How is it whenever
files.
why is it that all of a sudden like this happens, all this anti-queer hate, and then magically rich people somehow get richer and get big tax cuts when we're not looking? Like, that's clearly not connected.
Smoke and mirrors.
Hot button issues, and then they pad their pockets while no one's looking. It's always like that.
LGBTQ 1 Minute News.
LGBTQ 1 Minute News. Let's queer up health. New Trevor Project study warns of deepening mental health crisis among LGBTQ youth. With LGBTQ rights under attack nationwide, a groundbreaking new study finds young queer and trans Americans facing growing mental health crisis. The Trevor Project's Project Spark followed 1,689 LGBTQ plus youth ages 13 to 24 across the U.S. from 2023 to 2025. The study found that anxiety symptoms rose from 57% to 68%, depression from 48% to 54%, and suicidal thoughts from 41% to 47% in just 1 year. 14% reported being unable to meet basic needs, rising to 21% a year later. We've had multiple stories on the Trevor Project, and they have really done a great job at keeping an eye on the youth, because we've done a lot of reports and studies on the study that they've come out with. And we just continue to see that these numbers are continuing to increase, but yet we're cutting funding for mental therapy for our youth. We have hate speeches out there, and it's all impacting them.
Eliminating the suicide hotline. I mean, it's just pure hate. It's just pure hatred.
Viewers are used to me normally bashing nonprofits, but they all know I have a soft spot for the Trevor Project, because when we think about where should we give our money, Trevor Project does direct care and assistance to queer kids. A lot of groups they just want to do a flashy report and smile. That doesn't help anyone. The Trevor Project is helping people, and we really need to be helping the Trevor Project a lot more.
LGBTQ 1 Minute News. Let's clear up the worldview. Manchester Pride shuts down amid mounting debts. Manchester Pride, one of UK's biggest LGBTQ celebrations, has gone into voluntary liquidation, leaving performers and suppliers owed thousands. In a statement posted Wednesday, the Board of Trustees informed that Manchester Pride Limited was no longer financially viable. The board blamed, quote, rising costs, declining ticket sales, and an unsuccessful bid to host Europride, end quote. Staff will be made redundant, and unpaid accounts will be passed to liquidators. Artists, including RuPaul's Drag Race UK star Zahira Zapanta, said they haven't been paid since the August 2025 festival. Equity Northwest's Karen Lockney called the situation hugely concerning. Manchester City Council leader Bev Craig promised Pride will return in August 2026, saying, quote, "Pride is much more than the organization that runs it," end quote. Well, the tragedy is that this is beginning to have this domino effect. We're seeing this there, it's happening there, and it's happening here in all these different cities. I mean, it's, here we are at the end of 2025. What will Pride 2026 look like in other cities and other places?
It has to change. I used to warn about this in the Advocate and the Washington Blade as far back as 2017, that Pride as we've been doing them are not sustainable. Yeah, when the money's high and every corporation wants to be your friend, you can go hire Troye Sivan to go to your Pride. But the future has to be something different, and we have to be frugal. That's all.
And grassroots events can be fun. I mean, I look back at some of my early days in activism and gay social life, and you're
going to meet a much nicer boy to make out with at a grassroots event.
Wow.
LGBTQ 1 Minute News, let's clear up the USA View. Confusion and fear as police raid West Hollywood's iconic LGBTQ+ bar, the Abbey. More than a dozen people were arrested after a police raid at West Hollywood's iconic LGBTQ venue, the Abbey. 13 arrests took place in the city's Rainbow District. One viral clip shows security locking the Abbey's entrance as officers stand outside. Another shows arrests in progress, with one witness saying, quote, "They've just been going into the clubs and grabbing people. They haven't been presenting any ID," end quote. Officers confirmed they were from the West Hollywood Sheriff's Department, but declined to give a reason for the arrests. Later, the station told them.us that the raid was a scheduled undercover operation following reports of pickpocketing. And, I always say you should trust the police because they've been so truthful over the last, 100 years with queer people. People always say, the police are our friends. I'm like, if the police are not even your friends in West Hollywood, queer people, maybe wake up and understand that these people are not our friends.
No. Pickpocketing sounds like a likely story and excuse. I think the next bar raid should spark a riot. What do you guys think?
Very Stonewall.
Well, we are very fortunate, I must say, having attended National Night Out in Wilton Manors, to have a police force that supports our community.
This is what they do, though. This is how they target our community. The same way they were targeting the Latino community at the Home Depots, for example. It's like that's where these people go. This is where gay people go.
LGBTQ 1 Minute News. Let's queer up the USA View. Headline: 80,000 signatures want Bad Bunny axed from Super Bowl with many homophobic rants. A Change.org petition to replace Bad Bunny with country legend George Strait at the 2026 Super Bowl halftime show has approached 80,000 signatures since launching on October 1. The campaign claims that the show, quote, "unite our country, honor American culture, and remain family-friendly," end quote, calling Strait the king of country. But critics say the petition's language targets both Latin and LGBTQ+ communities. Bad Bunny, known for his gender-fluid fashion and support of queer rights, has been praised for breaking barriers in reggaeton. As hashtags Keep Bad Bunny and hashtag Straight for Super Bowl trend, fans argue the debate is not just about music, but about who gets to define American culture. Well, first of all, I'm a big fan of Bad Bunny, and he's from a territory of the United States, so cut the shit. Just cut the crap.
Good job, Larry.
Cut the crap. It's about time we recognize that we are a melting pot. That's what we're all about. That's the United States. And, there are other shows and media that they can watch. If George Strait wants to have his own pay-per-view on another channel, fine. The decision's been made. This is not an election of who gets to pick the Super Bowl host. This was what was chosen. Live with it. What do y'all think?
I think that's the most commentary you've ever given on
it. Well, thank you, Alex.
Girl, I'm going to do some statistics for everyone tonight. So apparently there are, according to Google, there are 127 million viewers of the Super Bowl. 80,000 people represent not 1%, not 0.5%, 0.063%. So 6% of 1% of the entire viewership has an opinion. Good for you, kids.
And is it any coincidence they want George Strait? Hello?
George who? I have no idea who this person is.
Neither do I, just the country singer.
There's no way the NFL does. There's absolutely no way. This guy's the biggest pop star in the world right now, and they're going to get epic viewership, and there's no way they're going to change their mind.
LGBTQ 1 Minute News. Let's queer up entertainment. Alexander Skarsgård and Harry Melling talk authentic, kinky sex in Pillion. The stars of Pillion are opening up about the film's steamy, rule-breaking intimacy. In Pillion, Harry Melling plays Colin, a shy man who falls under the spell of Ray, a dominant biker portrayed by Alexander Skarsgård. The film dives into the leather-clad world of gay bikers, power dynamics, and connection. Skarsgård told Pink News the film's love scenes balance kink with warmth. Melling said he felt very comfortable filming the intimate moments. Pillion will be released in theaters in the U.S. in 2026. Really? We have to wait until, although it's already November. But it's interesting, Melling played a queer character in the movie Please Baby Please, which is one of my favorites from 2022, and I am so looking forward to seeing him play queer again, especially alongside the stunning Skarsgård.
I'm verklempt.
Have some water.
I always love Alexander, whether he's posing nude in True Blood or that. Did you see the blouse he wore at the event? That's been all over the TikToks and the internet as like such cool cutting edge fashion. That's true. Men do need something more than a tank top to wear in a formal wear now.
Yeah. Well, it'll be exciting to see which theaters release this film. I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully it gets some good distribution.
Were you talking about the dildo shirt? That's what you're
Oh, he had a white blouse with
the dildo. Oh, we had this shirt with the dildos on it too.
I didn't pay attention to
okay,
dildos
sorry.
because I was looking at another part.
Talk about accessorizing, really?
These are today's headlines from Queer News Tonight. Our anchors represent the best of our LGBTQ family.
If our community is important to you, share this news with your friends and family. Don't forget to join the conversation on your favorite streaming platform.
Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ television show in the world that is out of the closet and into the headline.
We need your support. If our community is to grow and then thrive, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world. This is the only place in the world that tells these types of LGBTQ stories in motion and in sound. That is the passion of Hotspots magazine, Happening Out Television Network, and Queer News Tonight.
I'm your anchor, Von Biggs, and I thank you for joining us on behalf of our fellow LGBTQ anchors here at Queer News Tonight, Gregg Shapiro, Alex Morash, Larry Farver, and Lali Safavi. Yes, sorry about that. We'll see you daily at 8 p.m. to our LGBTQ plus world. We wish you a good night.
Nice.
Good night.